Before we start talking, I have something that's probably the most important thing that we have to do right now. So, you know the rules. No coffee, trucker down. One of the things that I wanted to tell you about is truck drivers. What kind of life do they live? It's easy. It's a lonely life. It's a lonely life. It's a no sleep life. Me as a road driver, I'm strictly going to talk about road drivers because I'm not a city driver. I was in the beginning, but I'm not now. I'm a road driver. So everything I talk about is strictly road. I run the Midwest, and I don't run the East Coast, and definitely wouldn't want to run the West Coast. And my day normally starts on a Monday, and usually I try to make it back home on Friday. Um, I know there's a lot of truckers out there that they wish they can do 5 days, but unfortunately, the companies that they work for, they're probably out there 3 weeks, 2, 3 weeks. I got a friend of mine who works for a company, and I think he told me he's usually out there a month or so, month or two, before he gets home for a lousy weekend. But think about the expenses of doing that. You got to figure um, if you're at home. Let's just say I'm at home. Get up in the morning, cook some eggs, cook some breakfast, get me a cup of coffee, sit down, watch a little bit of news, maybe complain to my wife I hate my life. But I don't know, maybe I don't do that. But anyway, and throughout the day, just kind of chill. So lunchtime, I might make a sandwich, and then in the evening, maybe um, eat some Chinese food or some pizza or cook some pasta or something. But the bottom line is that all that stuff that I made for the day, I had here in the house, and we bought it on the weekends. But when you're in the truck, it's a whole different thing. I mean, you go into McDonald's, get some coffee, get you a breakfast burrito, hash brown, $9. 11 o'clock or 11:30, stop, get you a cup of coffee, get you a double Whopper with cheese, fries, couple apple pies. Then around 7 o'clock at night, you're going to do your 10 hours sleep. So you usually stop and get yourself um, a fish sandwich or a chicken sandwich or a burrito, large Coke, Diet Coke, $15, and then you take a nap for 10 hours. So I just did the math, roughly. I did actually go back through my bank statement, and I use a certain card when I buy food on the road. Sometimes I use my other cards, but most of the time I just use one so I could kind of keep track. But I'm looking at about $38 a day, and that's $191 a week. Now that's just for food. And that's not extra stuff like maybe I stop at a rest area and I want to pop, or I stop someplace and I got to buy a case of water. Um, I do keep stuff in my truck that I bring with me, but still, you're still costing you money. So if you make $1,200 a week gross, you're going to knock off $200 minimum. Now, I'm not buying junk food, chips, and stuff all the time. I know that there's a lot of drivers who do that. So that $191, I'm sure, is a lot more than that. And that's, I know maybe you go to Jewel and you buy $60 worth of junk food and then you put it in your truck. but you still paid for it and you're still going to consume it while you're driving. That's why a lot of the drivers got what the Chinese call da duzi, and that means they got that big belly going on. I have it kind of, but not like some of the drivers that I see. But so that's a $200 expense a week minimum, like I said. So can you imagine if you're on a Saturday and a Sunday laid over? Because when I'm laid over, like say for instance, if I delivered on a Wednesday and I didn't have my load set up for the next day, and then I check it out and there's nothing for the next day because I didn't reserve a load in time, which is laziness and it's bad. So then I get to sit around all day. So what do you do in your truck? Right now with COVID going on, you can't go in the truck stops like before and sit and watch TV with the boys. Can't do that. Can't go sit in the restaurant and suck down coffee, and that would get boring after a little while. I mean, so the only thing you can do really is eat. Or you can sleep. But you know what? And I find myself, well, sometimes I sleep. But I can only sleep 3 hours, and then I can't sleep anymore. I'm too bored to death. I mean, so I could pop open my laptop. I could browse the internet. I could listen to some music. I can play some videos. But hell, that gets boring. So, I mean, that's why sometimes I don't see how some of these guys, they get laid over for long periods of time. Like maybe they'll finish up on a Friday night someplace, and they got to spend a whole weekend in a truck stop. I can't stand it. I mean, it's too much for me. I get too antsy, too bored. I used to be able to kind of do it because when I was hauling tanker and I'd get stuck in Houston, like on a Friday night or a Saturday morning. So then you'd have all day Saturday, and then all day Sunday, laying around, and then Monday morning you'd go get your load or whatever, and then you'd be okay, and you'd be on your way. But that sucked. I mean, I did it a few times. I was not a happy camper with that, but I mean, it's part of being a trucker. I mean, the nice parts there's some good parts about trucking though. A lot of my favorite things is seeing the country. I mean, running up and down the roads and stuff, the highways, and seeing beautiful country, and Denver and Wyoming and Tennessee, Kentucky. I mean, there's a lot of Ohio. I mean, there's a lot of beautiful places in this country. I mean, and I'm only running the Midwest. I mean, I run sometimes Georgia, Atlanta. I don't really care for those too many. Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, Louisiana, Houston, Texas, Dallas, Texas. I mean, I love seeing the scenery and stuff. I mean, it's beautiful, and even in the wintertime, man, when it snows all over, it can be a bear to drive in sometimes. But I mean, as a professional, you get used to that, and so I mean, you got to have the attitude of it is what it is, and that's how I kind of view it. As just you go and do it. I mean, it's just what your job is, but it can be a hard job. It can be a hard job, but it's a lonely job because of the fact that you're by yourself. The only thing you can do is to eat up some time. Hi friends, what's up? Yeah, I'm driving down here, but I wear my headset, of course. But I look forward for a phone call. I talk to somebody, but see, I used to talk to my son all the time, but he's no longer here. But and that was good because the miles just seem to fly by once you're doing that. Or I'll put on a movie and I won't watch it, but I'll listen to the movie, or I'll play different stuff on the computer or on my phone. Anything to pass that time a little bit, make the time go faster. I'll throw some jams on and be bouncing the truck and singing and acting crazy and stuff. I mean, but that's the only thing you can do. I mean, it's that kind of life though. But I mean, I miss sleeping in my bed. I miss being home. I miss all those things that you as a person, you have no idea what we go through or what we're missing. It's a sad and lonely life, and that's why a lot of truckers end up in divorces and um, just terrible lives. I mean, it can be. And one other thing that I didn't touch on at all is everything that I was doing or everything that I said so far in this article is all positive stuff. You know, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. I mean snacks. But there's another side to it too that I didn't touch on. I don't want to take up too much more time, but there's the horrifying part. Here's the horrifying part. You're running down the road, someone cuts in front of you and you hit them. That happens. It happened. I've seen it. I've seen the video. Or you blow a steering tire and you're on the side of the road waiting for road service to come for 4 hours. Or you have a problem with your truck and you go to the TA and you say, how long would it take to fix this? Well, we'll get you in here in 6 hours. Now I got a schedule. Because everything that truckers do is on a schedule. So now I got to somehow allocate a 6-hour schedule, and I have an 11-hour clock. I have a 14-hour day I could create, but I can only drive 11 hours, and then I have to have a 10-hour break in between. Whatever clock gets full first, you have to do that. So like as soon as I punch in the morning, my clock starts, I have a 14-hour day. I can work up to 14 hours total time. As soon as I start driving, that second clock starts, and that's your driving clock. So if the driving clock gets to 11 hours, you're done. Or if the 14-hour clock runs out, you're done. Whatever does first. So if you're, most of the time you're driving, most of the time the driving clock runs out first or gets close to running out, you got to find a place to park. That comes to the next part that I'm going to just touch on just for hair. So you have a breakdown, you have allocated, you have a clock, you have a dispatcher, you have an appointment time, can't be late, weather. So then you have the part of it's 7 o'clock at night, your 14-hour clock is almost done, or your 11-hour clock is just about to run out. So you got to find a place to park for your 10-hour break. What do? Go to the truck stop? Find a nice parking place? Nice try. Doesn't work like that. Sometimes it does. Sometimes you can go into a truck stop and you can get a parking spot. Now, since I own my truck, I have a problem with that because I've seen too many trucks get hit by amateur drivers. It happens. So I mean, I'm not blaming the newbies, but you're sitting there sleeping and all of a sudden, what the hell's that? You look out the window and a truck's stuck on your fender, or ripped your beer off, or ran into the side of your truck, and then he tries to take off. You have no air pressure, and he's going to take off. So, I'm not fond of parking in truck stops if you could find a parking place. So then you got the other option would be rest areas. Usually after 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, they start packing up real good. To where the only place you can sleep is on the shoulder. You're like on the entrance or you're on the exit of the rest area. So you tuck in behind a truck or you get in front of one on the outgoing ramp, and you spend 10 hours there. 10 hours. You gotta walk, If you got to go to the bathroom, you have to walk from that spot because you ain't going to move your truck. So usually it's about a 2 block walk or a block, or at least a block walk to go to the bathroom. Or you go to the nearest tree in the middle of the night. But then there's Pennsylvania and Ohio, to where sometimes those ramps are full. Now Ohio, if a trooper comes in there early in the morning and you're still on that ramp, you get a ticket. Because they say that you're not allowed to park on the ramp going into the rest area. You have to be in the rest area. But how can you when it's full? The truck stops are full and the rest area ramps are full. I got a ticket already once, I know. I got one in Pennsylvania, cost me over $300, I think it was. And I got some in Ohio, cost me $200 or $150 or whatever it was. So you have that problem. That's not fun. So, and you're sleeping alone, of course, or maybe you got a ghost or something, or you're sitting on a dark ramp someplace, or you're in a rest area. I mean, some places are more isolated than others, to where the rest areas are kind of scary at night. Not that I'm afraid. I've got something to take care of that, but you don't know. You don't know. So there's that fear factor that somebody might come mess with you in the middle of the night. But like I said, parking in truck stops, I don't like it because I've had a guy run into my truck. But at that time, my truck was in the repair shop, and I had a lease truck. So they ran into the lease truck and they messed up the fender a little bit, but I had a lease truck, so I cared very much. But it wasn't mine. There was no reason for what the guy did. But some truck stops, they're a little narrow, so you got to be a better driver to actually get it into the slot. And sometimes drivers, they're tired too. They're trying to, because most drivers, they run out that 11-hour clock. And me, I usually run out my 14-hour clock. So I haven't been driving for 14 hours, but I'm up and I stop, and you accumulate the hours though, but you were on duty for 14 hours, or usually around 13, because I try to stop an hour before I run out on either clock. So I usually drive 10 hours, or when my 14-hour clock gets down around 12 and a half or 13 hours, I start looking for a place to land. But that's the glory life. I'm not trying to scare you from being a trucker. It's not as glamorous as you think it is. Actually, being a truck driver is hard work. Yeah, I know. Oh, you're driving a truck. You're just sitting there all, True. But there's more. There's a lot of aggravating stuff I'm not even telling you. I mean, and I own my truck, so breakdowns cost me money. It's not like, hey, dude, your motor's died out and I don't know why. Can you send somebody out? No, I have to deal with all that stuff. But still, as a driver, so if you were thinking about being a truck driver, to be honest with you, I wouldn't do it again. If I could get out of that right now, I probably would. And find me some type of different job, doing something. I have skills. I don't know what I would do, but I'd have to do something, because I don't know if I'd want to go back and be a truck driver. I wouldn't want to work for somebody else, because I'm an owner-operator and I own my own company, so I do what I want, basically. To be underneath the rule where the guy says, well, go get this load. Oh, I'm tired, dude. I like to go home. No, you got to go get this load. We got to get this. I got a schedule. You got to get this over there, and I got a load over there ready for you going over to Wyoming. And then when you get to Wyoming, I got one going off to Nebraska. Then because they got you planned out to get that revenue. So, be a trucker. Think about it. I wouldn't do it. I don't know what else you can do. But I'll be honest with you, if I can park my truck and do something different, I would. So anyway, I just wanted to scare you. I mean, tell you a little bit about if you want to be a trucker and what the trucking life's about. And if you have any questions, don't forget to subscribe too. I mean, I need subscriptions. I need people to subscribe. Don't cost you nothing to hit that subscribe. And then if you do the bell thing, it'll let you know when I have a new video out there. You can look at my pretty face and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But if you have any questions or you want to really know something, feel free to drop me a note or anything. I will answer you. But anyway, so peace. And don't forget to drink your coffee and try and be safe. Thank you. See you later. As you can see, it's raining out here in Ohio. I'm about 25 minutes away from Marion, Ohio, where I'm going to pick up my load going back to Whirlpool in Shanahan. But it's raining, and I figured I'd go over here to Love's and get my oil changed. Look how much diesel fuel is. Ain't that awesome? I just put in 50 gallons because it's too expensive. Yeah, this is when trucking sucks. Look how many people are vaping outside right now here in West Virginia. I blame the vapors for this. They all got their freaking windows open blowing vapors out. Now look what I got to drive in. That's worse. Now Virginia's pretty, but man, when it's raining out, it sucks. Oh my God. It's taking forever to go through this area because of the winding roads. Man, it's